Creatures of the night, this is your girl Tati. Let's talk about Grand Slam Mexico. Finally, the day has come. We'll be having shows, this week in Mexico, so there's still more things to come, but I thought that this was great. Tony Khan, there's no reason why we shouldn't come back to Mexico anytime soon, and hopefully I'll get my passport and my shit together so I can be able to go as well. It's my dream to travel the world, to go watch wrestling shows, and I need to get my shit together. This was really, really great, and I think overall successful so far from the 2 shows that they had so far this week, but there are some more shows coming up for Ring of Honor and New Japan and all that stuff throughout the week. But anyway, we started off with Hangman, who comes out and does a full-blown Spanish promo, and he basically talked about how his family had a farm and Mexicans worked on the farm, and basically how they came together to make this farm work. Basically just like how CMLL and AEW are coming together to give the best with professional wrestling. And low-key, it could also be interpreted, which I'm pretty sure, to be like how things are in America right now, how there's immigration issues and things like that going on. So I felt like he was saying that without also saying that, knowing Hangman. Now, Excalibur was translating here and there, and he goes on to say that, hey, I cannot wrestle. I'm not booked to wrestle tonight. And also, since Moxley's in the main event, I cannot come out there during the match. But they ain't say nothing about me coming out there after the match. So basically, he's letting us know that no matter what, he's coming out anyway. Well, actually, after the match. And he ends up leaving. I guess the crowd really, really loved Hangman, even if it was for a couple of moments. We got to see him in the ring. And him speaking Spanish was amazing. And it made me think that, all right, after today, there's no excuse in terms of why we can't hear Hologram, Commander, and all these luchadors who never say a motherfucking word. If Hangman could do a Spanish promo, and then we have Excalibur translating or whatever, this is the same vibe that y'all can do for the luchadors to put them over as well, whether if they are in Mexico or not. Now after this, we do have what was it, 12 man, some shit like that. Dax come out there with Stokely, one of the half FTR. Cash Wheeler couldn't come because apparently the legal issues were not resolved, but we ain't gonna talk about that. And they end up using Volador Jr. to take his place in the match. So we have the Don Callis family, which is Hechicero, Josh Alexander, Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and Lance Archer to be part of the group. I thought it was interesting how Kyle Fletcher, Hechicero, and Takeshita got their own entrances, and the rest of the group just pretty much came out as a group, and they're just like, well, let the ones that everybody like go out first, and then y'all can just come out together. A little bit of favoritism when it comes to that. I don't necessarily understand that, but they're going against Adam Cole, who has zero aura even in Mexico. Atlantis Jr., Bandito, Brody King. Brody King came out there with the Abolish ICE shirt. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're making political statements tonight. And then we had Daniel Garcia and Templario. I thought this was great. You got a chance to see a little bit of everything. Brody King gave y'all her Corona tonight on Hechicero, which was, I can't tell you that I've ever seen him do that before. I don't care for this many people to be in the ring, but this is a good way to be able to showcase a lot of people at the same time. And unfortunately, the baby faces end up taking the win, but this was expected. If Atlantis is in somebody's team, y'all know y'all winning if y'all on that team. The only thing I'm going to complain about, which I've said even yesterday and fucking last week and everything else, is Don Callis family. They have a fucking unit of wrestlers, and I feel like something about it is not taking the group as seriously as they should be. Heel or not, they have the amazing people over there, and I just wish they could take a few more wins when they get together as a group. Up next, we have Okana going against Mark Brisco. Why this felt like the longest match of the night for me? I don't know what it was, but it felt like the longest match of the night. I could be wrong. Okada, they love Okada over there. Obviously they end up booing him or whatever, because who doesn't like Mark Brisco? For me, I thought this was great. I was kind of hoping that Kenny would come out. Because I was like, if Kenny come out, this building, the roof on the building is going to just fly off with everybody losing their shit over it. And unfortunately, that doesn't end up happening because apparently Kenny's supposed to be hurt and hospitalized somewhere. So he wouldn't be returning just after a week. Uncle Don does come out with Okada. And this was interesting for me because Uncle Don did not come out for Don Callis family and only Okada, which really makes you feel like, okay, well, right now I'm doing something with Okada, and this is a little bit bigger than just the Don Callis family because I hate Kenny Omega, and I need him to know that Okada and we got something going on here. So that was cool. Okada obviously ends up taking the win. I didn't expect for Mark Brisco to win. And that mohawk, that fresh ass mohawk, he looked like he just got off the chair at the barbershop and went straight into the arena to this match. Like, that's how fresh it was. It's actually a really nice look for Mark Brisco. But your hairstyle don't get you wins, but still put on a really great match. Okada, I can't wait to see where things are going with him and Kenny. To be honest, just between you and me, I think I'm a little bit more interested with what's going to happen with Okada and Kenny than Hangman and Mox. Now, after Uncle Don does beat up on Mark Brisco for a little bit and puts the title onto Okada, we have our next match, which is Mystico versus MJF. MJF come out with the entire Hurt Syndicate, and to be honest with you, even Bobby was looking good with an all-white fit on. I liked it. I think he looked great. They were ringside. They stayed ringside, which for me was what I predicted because I felt like, okay, they're probably going to get involved where MJF can win. That the only way I could see MJF beating Mystico would be with some type of interference. Now, when Mystico comes out, he actually is wearing a Sin Cara mask, and he ends up taking it off after he comes out. If you want to see what a god looks like, this is it when we talk professional wrestling. If it wasn't for Moxley and this being an AEW produced show, this would be a main event in CMLL because they worship this man. Like, you guys have no clue what I'm talking about when I say Mystico is like god tier in CMLL, and you can see it with the crowd singing. The girls are screaming their heads off, like everybody's going crazy about this man, and I absolutely loved it. Now, the one thing I would complain about is that it's an AEW produced show, so you didn't get a lot of the CMLL feel. They didn't pan to the camera. They didn't pan the camera to like people in the crowd during the matches. You didn't see any of the advertisements that CMLL always have. Which is okay with me and understandable, but something about it, definitely you can feel the difference between a CMLL production versus AEW, which is okay. We're used to that anyway with AEW. But he comes on out there, everybody sings the whole damn song till it's over, and I think this was such a great experience for people who just are not familiar with wrestling outside of AEW or WWE or just American wrestling, for y'all to experience what it's like to be a big motherfucking deal and everyone in the building acknowledges that. So I thought that was really, really cool. The match I thought was great. MJF is wearing an obnoxious singlet again, like MVPs. And this time we have like American flag. I think Uncle Sam or some shit on it. It's horrendous, but it fits the bill, especially when he comes out with the American flag. Yes, we do have Hurt Syndicate who's out there. They're cute and they're being distracting. And even with interference, Mystico ends up taking the win via disqualification because apparently we had to crush his balls. So then he ends up taking the win. After that, they end up putting their hands on Mystico. They even take his mask off and MJF puts the mask on. Then we have Captain Saberhose that come out. It was Bandito, Mike Bailey, and then Mike Bailey. What Mike Bailey got to do with any of this? Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, I don't know where they came from, but they came out there. Templario came out there. That makes sense. Teton came out there. That makes sense. Mike Bailey and Kevin, they're baby faces. They're not booked to be on anything, so they might as well come out and do something. And they came out there to save Mystico. They end up putting a mask back on Mystico, but MJF ends up leaving with the mask that he ended up taking off of Mystico. I think everybody's still happy regardless because Mystico didn't have to take an L, but still no clear winner. And I'm assuming that at some point, which I'm sure hopefully will be back, that we'll see Mystico go against MJF again. We had a 4-way. Mascara Dorada versus Ricochet versus Leo Rush versus Hologram for the kids. And you know if Hologram name is in it, he's winning. So nothing to be surprised about. The match was great. I would have liked to see someone else win, but I didn't think it was like, did I think there was a chance? 0 chance that Hologram was going to lose. However, the predictability does kind of, I don't know, makes it a little bit of a downer because you're just like, well, why should I even watch this? Like, it's going to be the same person winning again. Hologram wins, but I didn't like how he ends up winning, where it seems like Ricochet was all tied up or some shit at the, sitting on top on the ropes, and for what reason, why he couldn't move, I really couldn't tell you. And here is fucking Hologram going for a portal bomb. That's such a stupid name for a move, but whatever. I guess it makes sense since he's a hologram, and ends up winning. And honestly, I'm a little bored. I'd rather have seen something less predictable. Great match though. All right. Mercedes Moné versus Zukis for the CMLL World Women's Championship. I think most people predicted that she wasn't going to win. This, I think, was the shortest match of the night, and it even felt like it cut short. I don't know what it was, but it felt a lot shorter than I think I would have preferred it to be. Mercedes won. Mercedes won, and let me just say this. Because I didn't mean to go on a rant during my live stream, but I just felt, I couldn't even feel happy for her. Like, one reason why I love doing what I do is I like to talk about women in wrestling, and I like to advocate for that. But I don't see how this helps women's wrestling again, for you to win another title. This does nothing. For the ladies themselves on these rosters where you're holding titles from all these promotions. And she even took the win with a diving crossbody, which that's not even a fucking finisher. Like, even if it was a fucking statement maker or some shit, maybe I could take that. But it just seemed like it just was done abruptly, and I just couldn't care for it. Now, personally, without me getting into a rant, like I said, I feel like, you know, as a woman, I want to see women succeed in wrestling. And I do not see how a woman holding titles from damn near any promotion that exists helps women's wrestling. It keeps women from winning those titles that you're holding. And when she's not even defending the titles, look, I'm not a fan of women collecting belts because women titles are very scarce per promotion. Unless you have an all-female promotion, there's 1 or 2 titles at most for most promotions. And she's already keeping the TBS title away from the entire women's division to be able to do a title match with Toni Storm. And, you know, people are putting the whole thing of her and comparing her with Hogan. I can't necessarily say that in particular. And there are some people who are saying that, you know, she has creative control. She has to have creative control. I don't want to say full creative control, but you mean to tell me that all these promotions, even the random one from Austria, where most of you don't even know where on the fucking map Austria is, came together and say, we are all going to give our women's titles to Mercedes. You think they all came together and said this? No, they did not. They did not all come together and say we were going to do this. The only titles that I feel like she added prestige to really is the New Japan Strong Women Championship. I can't say the same for the TBS title. She had great matches, really virtually no feuds. and nothing to add prestige. We're 2025. Wrestling fans care more about holding titles than adding prestige to titles. There are certain titles that you can name out, and when you say the name of the titles, specific wrestler names come up because of the prestige that they added to those titles. She has not added anything in terms of prestige other than the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. And this is coming from somebody who is a fan of Mercedes. I think she's done great. I've done a lot of advocating for her throughout this time that she's been outside of WWE. But I don't see how this helps any women's division for you to take the title off of a CMLL wrestler. And are we going to have to beg you to show up for that? You had the Rev Pro Undisputed Women's Championship, which is 2 titles to be undisputed. And you are not defending those. You only defended it once in 6 months. This does not help a women's division if you are holding titles hostage. You have to be reigning defending to add prestige to a title. If you are not defending and you are collecting, what kind of champion is that? And this is no shade because I think she's a great wrestler, but you're not adding anything for the other girls on the roster. 2 fucking women's title on AEW. And I would fucking probably get out my seat at All In if I see her win the AEW Women's Championship. Because I am all about advocating for the girls. Not one girl, which is Mercedes. For the girls in general. And once again, a lot of these girls are just not going to be doing anything because we have to stop and watch one person collect titles. We do have Toni Storm, who does like a 1930s type inspired vignette. And she ends up having Mina Shirakawa on stage for distraction while she attacks Mercedes from behind. And she ends up dropping all the titles on the floor and all that shit when she gives Mercedes a German suplex. I don't want to see Mercedes win. We're probably never going to see this happen again in terms of a belt collector. But there's no prestige added to any of the titles that she's holding right now. Because you have to be a reigning and defending champion. You have to be part of feuds. You have to be building people up. And I haven't seen anyone being built up other than a little bit Harley Cameron, who we haven't even seen on TV for weeks. Fucking over it. Main event, we had Beast Mertos, who has not been in CMLL for 14 years because he turned his back and went to fucking AAA. Magically replaces Claudio Castagnoli, who has, I guess, travel issues, and couldn't make it. I'm not going to throw out anything in terms of speculations, but this is just very strange when there's a whole roster full of people and somehow they got Beast Mertos to be in this match. They looked over everyone else for Beast Mertos. Very interesting. Teaming up Death Riders and the Young Bucks. And they're going against William. When William came out, everybody was losing their shit in there, which I guess I understand. The Ops and Swerve Strickland. Prince, I don't know what he was wearing. I don't know what he was wearing. Some Halloween inspired, or maybe a La Parka inspired type of look I think he was going for. I'm thinking it was a little bit strange, but okay, go ahead, do what you do. The match gave you exactly what you expected from everybody. William, I think everybody was excited to see William. I don't think he's ever been to Arena, Mexico. I can't tell you that I've ever heard of him or seen a match of him being there. If Moxley wasn't a heel, I'm sure they would have been fucking, cheering like crazy for him as well, but they booed him, obviously. And one thing I was noticing throughout the match was how William, who has his head wrapped with a bandage and a black eye that actually wasn't sure if it was real at first, but I think it is, they were all friends and buddy. And I was like, oh, so because Swerve was a damsel in distress last week and William had ran in front of him to get hit with a double super kicks, and now he got black eye and everything. So now he and Swerve are friends and maybe might team together to help Hangman for All In. We'll see. I don't know. I thought the match was great. Samoa Joe, when I tell you that Mexico was showing so much love to Samoa Joe and Shibata, I think they just had a great time. The fans had a great time. I wish it was like that more, watching AEW within the United States. Like the international fans, they're always so grateful and locked in when these shows are on. I don't see nobody playing on their phone. People are not doing anything else but enjoying the moment when it comes to these shows. However, our champion Moxley ends up taking the win. And let me just say this, Wheeler Yuta was getting his ass whooped like 60% of the match. Like, this is like just the thing y'all gonna do every week with Wheeler Yuta, just to get beat up. Moxley ends up taking the win, which I'm cool with. He's a champion, and why not? Hangman did make a promise and said that, I can't be there during the match, but I will be there after. And he shows up to get his hands on Moxley. So when Hangman gets in there, he puts his hands on Wheeler Yuta, because obviously that's just a fun thing to do. And then he goes for a buckshot lariat onto Moxley. Moxley ducks, and one of the Jackson brothers, which I don't know who, because honestly I don't give a fuck who they are, got hit with the buckshot lariat. Now they're both looking at Hangman like disgusted, like, why would you do this to your friend? Like, we're your friends. And they end up walking away. They look like they were just betrayed or anything. They're not really friends right now, but I do feel like Hangman kind of seemed to be not sad about it, but you can see he's just like, man, my bad, bruh. I didn't mean to go for you, but it just happened. And they end up, the heels end up leaving. Hangman went to follow them, but they end up having him go back into the ring, and that was pretty much it. Overall, I think the show was great. Bad booking in terms of Mercedes winning the title, because like I said, I just feel like people think we're just booking to make people look cool with titles, and the importance of these titles are just not there anymore. It's all about for show, Instagram pictures, and all that shit. It's just the prestige is not there. I feel like I can easily say this because I watch wrestling from any promotion. Like, I don't feel no loyalty to no promotion. So wherever wrestling at, I'm going to watch. And what I'm seeing is someone collecting belts and not doing anything with them, and just going to keep collecting till they have whatever they have, and then slowly but surely we'll start losing these titles. Other than that, I think the show was great, but we still do have Ring of Honor Global Wars Mexico. We do have Fantastica Mania, which will be airing on CMLL. You do have to be a member to be able to watch that show. We already have the New Japan wrestlers showing up, pulling in Mexico. So that's going to be on Friday. And don't forget Collision on Saturday. I don't know if it's taped. I don't know if it's live. Whatever situation is, I will be doing a live stream and a review on that. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.